Well, compared to you, I'm bald.
I just can't do it.
Welcome to Besties and Bubbles.
Yay! Cheers!
Cheers, Kimberly.
Love you.
Oh, I love you. And we thought today we would talk about the different type of relationships that we have in our life. I think it's adorable, and I'm sure you guys have people in your life you do this too as well. But Kim and I are connected on Facebook and Instagram, and we send each other reels and memes and everything daily. Like sometimes I see it on my watch and be like, I got to get back to her. I'll get back to her later on that, But one of the things she sent me the other day really prompted kind of hit me. So I wanted you to kind of talk about it. I thought it was really, really, really good.
And it resonated with me as well, which is why I share, right?
Yeah.
And it's the importance of having girlfriends.
It's the importance of having girlfriends.
Girlfriends, your girlfriends, right? As you like to refer, your tribe, but it's really those girlfriends that are there for you that are tried and true. Girlfriends are going to show up for you. Girlfriends are going to be there for you. Girlfriends are going to do, whatever it takes to make sure if you're feeling low, they're going to pump you up. If, you've got a situation with your family, they're going to show up. They're going to show up with a meal. They're going to be the ones that organize a meal train. If, something happens that you can't prepare meals or whatever,
right.
They're going to be the ones to show up. Now that we're older and our kids are getting married and they're having babies, they're going to help you organize those showers and be there for you for their weddings and all those important things in your life. And you know what? Let's face it, in the end, if something happens with a relationship with your partner, they're also going to be there. They're going to be that shoulder to lean on and cry on and really just do whatever it is that you need for them to do. So honestly, don't forget your girlfriends.
Don't forget your girlfriends. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was that a mom was saying to her daughter at her wedding shower,
this is actually true.
Don't forget your girlfriends. And the daughter was like, I thought mom was going to be saying something about love,
my relationship with my husband
to be all that kind of stuff. And she was like, don't forget your girlfriends. It's a poem, actually. I think we can find it and post on this. And give credit where credit is due. But I thought it was a really cool thing to read through, and it almost gave me chills because it's like, here's another reason why. Now, I'm not in a relationship with a man, or a woman. I'm just not in a romantic relationship. And I lean on my friends heavily.
Well,
heavily, and my children. My children are all adults. So.
Yeah. And I would say, as someone who is in a relationship and has been in a relationship for 30 years,
kudos.
30 plus years, actually.
Kudos.
But you do need to have your girlfriends. And that's girlfriends. And quite honestly, I think the guys need friends too.
Yes.
You need to have that group of people that's going to support you, right? That can be your sounding board when you are having maybe, an issue or just a struggle or what have you with that person that you're intimate with. And you need somebody else to talk it through. Absolutely.
Do you think that your husband has close guy friends that he can say anything to? It's okay. It's a yes or no.
I think he has guy friends from high school, very few, that he talks to not often, right? And then he does have a group of friends that he does go out with, which is good. I do think guys, as they get older, tend to not have those relationships. And I'm actually talking about
guys do.
And I'm actually referring to Gen X. I think millennials and Gen Z probably have done a better job than we have.
But they're also younger.
They are. I will give them that.
You know what I mean? Where they're not grandparents and stuff.
Yes. But I do think for Gen Xers as a whole, the women, and I'm speaking broadly, I think the women definitely have their girlfriends.
Right. Right.
More than the guys. I don't know.
Well,
what do you
just
think?
even like talking about any kind of relationships, we kind of like put down like the different type of relationships we have. Obviously, we have relationships with our parents still, even though we're adults.
We do.
We have relationships with our parents, and mine is a little different than yours.
Well, first of all,
per usual, Kimmy and I are not the same.
Very true. And what I will say is, as Gen Xers, if you do still have your parents that are here with us, then that's amazing, because I do know quite a few of us that don't.
That have already lost your parents. Yes, it's true.
So yeah, but along that line, you know, our parents are aging, and there's a lot to deal with that as well.
Yeah. I have a very hilarious relationship with my father.
You do. You do. You are actually taking care of your father.
Yes, my dad had a stroke in October of 2024, and I thought he was going to maybe live with me for a week or two, but he has never left.
No, and he's thriving.
He's thriving. Yeah, you know, he has his mental capacities, and so it's really just he has physical limitations, and I'm happy to help him. And I live with my daughter, my adult daughter, and I love actually that Emily gets a chance to help her grandpa.
That's amazing.
So I know there's probably other people out there in 3 generational houses, but we're like really just 3 people in one house.
It's actually, I never heard you say that before. So that was kind
we're
of funny.
We're 3 generations.
You are.
Yeah, in the house that I pay for.
With 3 people.
Yeah.
3 generations.
But there's
3
just
people.
3 of us. There's not 10. Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah. So we do have relationships with our parents that can be complicated. Also, we have partners, and I would say I am, you know, with the boyfriends or the potential boyfriends, you obviously have a relationship with Maddie that I actually adore.
Aww,
I respect that relationship so much. I've said that many times, but I really love your husband too. And I love the way that you guys communicate and work together and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure there's highs and lows to
Absolutely.
that. With
anything.
Honestly, just sleeping in the same bed with somebody every night, there's got to be highs and lows.
Yeah, especially if they snore.
And then we have kids, which are kids, some of them are adults. And if you're a Gen Xer, then I'm sure you probably have adult kids at some point too.
Yeah, I would think so. Right.
If you have kids, then you have adult kids. And so that's a different relationship when your kids are adults than when they're minors or living with you. And, you know, even if you agree or don't agree, I'm very blessed that all of my children, I feel, are doing really well.
You are.
In life. They have great partners. Amazing. All 4 of them have amazing partners in their life, and I'm very, very proud of them. But I could see also where that would be a difficult situation. And I know people that have, you know, daughter or son-in-laws they're just not crazy about. And I think that's tough. Yeah. I think that's a tough relationship to manage, you know?
I would agree. I have 2 older sons that are adults. One soon to be an adult.
Very soon. Always on the cusp.
He's right on the cusp. Yeah. And my older 2 boys have spouses, and you know, they're wonderful, and you know,
they're good to their mama.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, it's interesting, right? In raising your children. And here's the one thing I will say, just as a little insertion of having adult children.
Insertion.
And I think you and I somewhat agree on this, but maybe not.
Write it down if we agree on
when you're raising your children.
Yeah.
I always told the boys that we are not friends. Like, I am your parent, and we are not friends. I love you, and I will care for you, and I will provide for you. But if at any point in time, like, you should be pissed off at me, you should be angry with me because I'm setting boundaries and rules.
Fair.
And we are not friends.
Right.
But to your point earlier, when you get to that adult stage, right, you tend to shift because they're not on the payroll. They're not living under your roof. They are making their own decisions.
You have less control. And you just hope you did a good enough job. And then you're there more of in a supportive role, I think.
But if you can be friends and say friends,
absolutely,
that's an amazing thing.
It's the best. Agreed.
Yeah.
What about we talk actually a lot about friends. So do you feel like you have a good core group of female friends? And follow-up question, like it's the White House briefing. My follow-up question is, do you have male friends?
Those are actually really good questions.
Thank you, Kimberly.
So I feel
it's a podcast, so it should be a good question. I just sprung it on her, by the way.
Yeah. I feel that I do have a good group of friends, and that I have girlfriends, and
you can call in the middle of the night. You can call if you need something. You feel like you
yes,
do. Yeah,
and I have a good, like, diverse group of friends. I feel
okay.
But I feel that recently, right, that they've if I'm at somewhere, an event, or hosting a party or what have you, they all kind of at least know each other now, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, I have 3 children that really grew up in 3 different times. And so we had 3 different sets of friends. Right?
Those parents that we were talking about, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So, and now I'm at a point where some of those friends have then gotten to know each other through, various events, or we talked about weddings and, showers and things like that, or just parties that you host and then they come together. And I would say that that's probably the same for you as well, at a different level.
What if your friends that you connected started hanging out and you learned about it on social media and you weren't invited? Would you feel like, I'm the reason why they're friends?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I feel like that's a trap and a setup.
It's not a trap.
But
what if me and
right.
you know what I mean? Like, what if we started hanging out where you were like, she didn't invite me? Or,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Can they hear me say that?
Doesn't matter. They're all made up names. But
you know what I mean? So
yeah.
How would you feel about that?
I
only know them from you, and then I started hanging out with them. Would you be like, how come I wasn't invited?
I kind of would. I'm not super assertive from that perspective. We've talked about this previously, but I would be like, hey, where was my invite?
Babe, I would do that to you for 100%. If you met someone through me and then you two were just hanging out, I'd be like, well, how come you didn't invite me?
Right.
I was free.
I would at least put it all in a group text.
A lot.
I put it all in a group text.
Group chat. Yeah,
if you choose not to show up, then that's fine.
Of course.
Right? But
okay. That is a total side thing, but
that was actually really good.
But it does become an issue with some friendships, because you meet someone and you connect with them and you're like, oh, I want to be your friend. Like, I mean, you're saying it in your head, right? And then you start hanging out, and then the person that connected you is kind of like, you know what I mean? So I think it is something that people have to navigate, for sure.
And I would say, again, with us Gen Xers, we are either or entering the empty nest situation, and that's like a huge thing, right?
It's time to fill.
Right. And it's not that you're losing your identity as a parent, but you are losing your identity as, let's call it, like a school parent. If you are involved in school activities and that's how you know people, right? I mean,
see, and I looked at it as not losing anything, but I was gaining. Like, I feel like I put my time in. I was PTA president. I was council PTA president.
You were.
I was, I volunteered even when my son was in college, But once that all ended, it's not like, I mean, I missed being with my kid and those things, but I didn't miss the parent thing as much, because it's like, I got that time back.
Right.
And now I get to choose whether it's to go with that parent or not, or with somebody local, or, whatever. So
true.
Okay. Interesting. So yes, there's relationships that can be very complicated with your kids. And then also with how you meet the people through your kids.
Yeah. No,
and all that stuff. And your girlfriend.
Yes.
So you didn't answer the question. Do you have male friends? Do you have anyone that you would text if you were in a certain situation? Somebody other than your husband or your husband's brothers?
Yeah. No.
No.
No, to be honest. I mean, I have male, I don't want to say co-worker, but like client friends, right? That I could
But it wouldn't be a personal
like,
situation you would text them to get you out of.
No.
See, I
No.
do.
Yeah,
you know
you
I
do. Yes, you do.
I always have, even through my marriages, I've always had platonic relationships with males.
Yeah.
That have been 100% platonic.
Yeah. Well, you actually have a good relationship with my husband.
I do. Love your husband.
That involves like communication, phone calls, texts outside of me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't feel like that's a problem.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I have a group chat with Matt and Kim, always, the three of us. And then I also have a chat with just Kim, and then I have a chat with just Matt too. Because if it's something, just even like I want to say like, have a good day or whatever, like I send I send that to your husband. If I feel like he's having a bad day, I feel like I want to be his cheerleader. Yeah. Because I adore him. Yeah. Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So that is one way that we differ.
It is. But I also have other male friends that are just platonic friends that I would call if I need something or share intimate things with or go to dinner with, but they're literally platonic friends.
But you also have friends that you have had since high school or grade school.
Yes, grade school.
And Harris
and I have been friends since middle school.
I don't have.
We were 12.
I don't have that, so I find that I find it unique. Maybe our friends don't find it unique.
Sorry, I just hit my microphone. Yeah, right. What about neighbors? It's a different kind of relationship.
It is. I've always had a great relationship with my neighbors.
Do you still hang out with them the same way that you hung out with them when your kids were young?
No, unfortunately,
same thing.
No.
Same thing with me.
Yeah, I mean, when we were in the city, we had our little association, right? There were
you're a homeowners association.
There were 4 of us in a building, but we hung out all the time, and that was great. And I like to think that my husband and I are good neighbors. Actually, before that, we were living in a townhouse that this is all downtown Chicago, where we welcomed our neighbors. We had them over for drinks. I mean,
I love entertaining, and you're a good entertainer too.
And when we moved to our neighborhood in Lombard, so many years ago, we had parties all the time. I was in charge of our block party. I mean, we had Halloween parties, Christmas parties. We did. I hosted bunco, for the women.
We should bring bunco back.
We should bring bunco back.
My client plays bridge. She's 80.
That's a card game.
I know.
My grandmother played bridge. I don't know if I could play bridge.
You just have to have 4 people. But the same thing with bunco, you have to have 4 people.
You do.
So do you think bridge is like a dying thing? Like it's just like no one.
I mean, we could
I
bring
don't think
it back.
my kids. I don't think any of my kids. Ask your kids. Do they know what bridge is?
No, my kids wouldn't even know.
I don't think my kids would know.
And honestly,
any of my kids.
Did you know what bridge was before your client said it?
I did know it was a card game. I didn't know the specs on it, but then I asked her about it because I'm curious. I'm like a curious cat. But then the same thing with bunco. Do you think our kids know what bunco is?
My kids might, only because I hosted bunco at our house, but they probably would say no because they're boys and they wouldn't know.
Okay, but I have 2 boys, 2 girls, and I don't think they'd be like, that's so fun. I think we should get together, even with their friends, like a bunco.
It's a dice game. It's a random rolling.
It's not the fact is I just don't think the next generation does organized events like that.
Okay, fair. So. Wow.
But we did it at Peak when I had the fitness studio. We did a bunco thing, and
we did a bunco bunco. That was so fun.
It was, and we did country line dancing. Also fun, by the way.
Okay, but that's where I feel, and I'm not going to get off topic.
We're back on neighbors, yes.
Well, our generation, as in
Gen Xeration, our Gen Xeration.
Yes, we like to stay involved. connections,
do you
the physical part of it. Like, we are doing much more.
Do you think our kids aren't?
No, what I'm saying is it's the example to give our kids. If our kids look at,
that's fair.
And it is not actually to put a shame on what I'm going to call boomers, because I feel that's what my parents are. Boomers, or I think there's something called
an in-between
the lost generation.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right?
It's the lost.
Between the greatest generation and the boomers is called the lost generation.
80, yeah, if you're like 75 to 80 right now.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's like the lost.
Yeah, which is really sad.
It's a dumb name for that.
It is.
But I don't like it. If you look at, that's true. Well, it's the first time I've ever said this, but where our generation wanted to sit in the same room, also because we didn't have Facebook and phones and stuff like that.
No.
That we're like Bunko, our parents were Bridge or whatever. This generation can do that stuff online, or they can connect online with social media and not need to be in the same room.
That's true.
I think that's
a blessing and a curse.
I know, but do you think that that's I really don't know that I'm going to ask. I don't think my kids know what Bunko is.
Okay, so we're going to ask. I mean,
but Bunko's fun.
I love Bunko.
It's easy to do.
And what about bingo? They all know what bingo is too.
Well, I go to bingo on Wednesday nights.
You do?
At a local bar.
Right.
I drink, I have a great meal, and I play bingo. It's not like people think it's like at like a church basement for money. Like, no. I hardly ever win anything, but it's a social thing of just community. Going, and it's the same people that go and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
It's the same with like a trivia night. I mean, it's just being together. We've talked about use it,
lose if you don't use it, you lose it.
You got to use your brain. You got to use your body, and
But I think Bunko's more than like a brain activity as much as it's like someone brings food, and you know what I mean? It's definitely a social thing.
It's social.
I don't see as many people doing
at a house.
You host it at a house because it's free. All you need is die. Die is dice. Plural.
I think die is one and dice is two. But I mean,
die is plural.
No, die is one, dice is two.
Are you sure?
I mean, Google it.
All right. If so, honestly, blame it on the Prosecco, because I could bet only like $5.
Do you think it's because like
die?
Deer is one and deer is actually two. You don't say deers.
Okay. You know what? And now I'm freaking out that I don't even know. So
we'll come back on that.
What about, we have also like in-laws. How do you feel? You have relationships with your in-laws.
Yes. I mean, we have in-laws and we are in-laws.
Facts. I love when my daughter-in-law posts about her she calls me her bonus mom.
Yes, that's so sweet.
Do you know she does that?
I have seen that.
And for a period of time when they were in between homes, I had the privilege of my son and his wife, 3 children and 2 dogs, all moving into my home.
That was a lot.
While they renovated.
And I actually advised you, I'm going to say this, not to do it.
Oh.
You don't recall that.
I'm glad I didn't listen to you.
I am glad you didn't listen to me either.
I loved that time.
Yes.
And when they moved out, I actually made a social media post. Do you know what I'm going to say? I made a social media post saying, like, maybe some of you didn't know, for this many weeks, blah, blah, blah. But the thing I'm going to miss the most was seeing Jessie be the mom to those babies. Like, she's amazing. Jess, you're amazing. And aww. I just loved witnessing that. I remember being the young mom, Now, Baker was very young. He was walking for the first time, but he wasn't sleeping through the night. We had his first birthday here, when they moved in, when they happened to be temporarily unhoused, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're right. I am an in-law, but I try really hard with Tyler too. I try really hard to let them know, I love them. They're my family,
Yes.
No matter what, they are now, they are wonderful parents to my grandbabies, and now you have two daughter-in-laws, and also we have in-laws. So
yeah,
those relationships they can be tricky, but I do think, like anything, they take effort.
they do.
So they're healthy and good.
They do. And I will say you are very blessed that both of your children live close to you, because I do think, I mean,
Oh,
in the
okay.
Chicago area.
Close in Chicago area.
Right?
Yes.
So,
Dean lives 45 minutes away, but yes.
right.
Benny lives
Right. So,
6
when
hours
you
away
can
on an
see
airplane.
them
Yeah.
often,
Right. You're right, Kimmy. You're right.
I
I
think
am blessed. I
that
am
helps.
blessed. Yes.
Yeah. So,
And because of the babies. Yeah.
yeah. And, it is challenging. I
It's
feel
hard to
that
lose your kid to.
when you see your
Yeah.
children more often, I mean, you can't deny, just
Yeah.
when you see them more, you interact more,
Yeah.
and so forth. And I think when they're farther away, it makes it a little bit more challenging.
100%.
But we all try to, make it work.
Makes me sad to even think about that right now. It's probably the Prosecco, but it does. It makes me sad to think how far Benny is away from you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but even, with, my husband and his parents, um, they've always lived far away from us. And,
Yeah.
you just try and make it, a way for them
Yeah.
to visit on those special occasions
Yeah.
and make the most of it, which is great. And I'm blessed that both my parents and my in-laws are still around and living. And so
Yeah.
that's great that they can partake in not only our lives, but also our children's, and
Right.
now my grandbaby doll's life,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So,
And I am also very blessed that I have two ex-husbands. That's not the blessed part, but I really adore both of their parents, and I think I have really good relationships with them.
you do. You've done a great job.
Yeah. I
with
have
that.
always tried to foster that. So it's been really good.
Yeah.
Actually.
And actually we could probably go.
They're parental examples to me, both of them. Both Tom's parents and Doug's parents have always been examples to me.
Yeah.
And I respect those. I respect their views and what they would have to say, and I've always really respected them. Yeah.
Well, that's nice that you say that, because I do feel as parents, you want to be an example for your child, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the old adage is you want to be an example, and you want to see your children basically succeed more than you have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. True. Okay. So to wrap up,
I was going to say, are we going to wrap up?
To wrap up, I have some, again, Kimmy and I send things to each other all day.
Every day.
Every single day. I'm sure that our friends have friends that they do that too as well. But this is something that really, really got me.
Okay.
And you're not going to answer them, but you're going to react to each one.
Okay.
And I know that you've heard this before, but these are the 5 questions to ask yourself if you should stay in the relationship. There's all sorts of relationships, but definitely in a romantic relationship where you have a choice. Some of these relationships, you don't have a choice,
True. Right.
But it could be friendship, it could be romantic. Okay. So the first question they say, and you guys should, honestly, if you haven't heard these before, you should be thinking about these, whether it's your friendship or your romantic relationships. Okay.
All right, hit it.
If someone told you you were a lot like your partner, would that be a compliment to you?
Okay.
That's a good question to
That's
ask.
a very good question.
Yeah. That's a good thing for you to think, am I in the right relationship? The second question, and there's 5 in case you're writing them down.
So this is 2.
Are you truly fulfilled or just less lonely?
Wow.
That one was because you and I have talked about this.
That is a good one.
I think because I'm not in a relationship with somebody, I will say to you as my friend, and now my friend, my new besties are listening, I feel like I'm alone, but I'm not lonely.
Right.
I don't ever feel lonely. So that's number 2. Number 3, the third question is, are you able to unapologetically be yourself? Or do you need to feel you need to show up to please your partner?
Okay.
I think that's a big thing.
I think that is a big thing. I know you don't want an answer. My answer is no, but that I think that goes for new relationships and even long-lasting.
I think it's a good
long-lasting relationships.
Everything,
right?
Can you be yourself, or do you feel like you have to show up to please that person? Yeah. I think that's a good judge if that's a healthy relationship.
And is the person, if you're in a long-term relationship, is the person that you were 10, 15, 20 years ago the same person that you are now?
It's always the thing. That's right? Always, yeah, and I say no, but right. Okay, that was number 3. This is number 4. Are you in love with who your partner is right now as a whole? Or are you in love with their good side, potential, and the idea?
Wow.
And again, I can say in friendship or romantically, that is a good question to ask.
That is, yeah. That is good.
The last and final.
Fifth and final.
Would you want your child or future child to date someone like your partner?
Oh, 100% yes. But,
100% yes.
Well, if I had a daughter.
But I think that is amazing question to ask yourself when you're in a friendship relationship, because I believe that where you spend your time, your energy, even your finances, right? Like with relationships. Some relationships we talked about, you can pick and choose, and other ones you can't.
Sure.
But the ones that you can pick and choose, I think those are 5 great questions to ask.
They're amazing questions to ask, and I hope that, maybe we'll get some feedback from our friends.
I would love feedback, and if nothing else, ask yourself those questions.
Absolutely.
And put your energy with people where you can answer positively to all those. So Kimmy, this has been a treat again to be with you.
Absolutely.
As always, to besties and bubbles.
To besties and bubbles.
It's like champagne dreams and caviar wishes. Is that what he said?
Oh, who was that?
Robin Leach. We're dating ourselves. Way to Gen Xers. Way to Gen Xers on the way out the door.
Caviar wishes. I love it. Ciao.
All right, cheers.